So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another anniversary album review of The Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and I'm joined by Senorita Sabrosura and JC Rock and Metal Reviews, and we're here to talk about Nirvana-In Utero, which turns 30 years old September 21st of 2023. So, first of all, guys, how are you tonight?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Good. So can you believe that it's been 30 years that this album was released? The Nirvana. It's been a while. So what we're first gonna do, like, we'll talk a little bit about history of this album when it came out, our initial thoughts listening to this album. We'll pick our favorite three tracks. And then at the end of the video, we'll all discuss if it has held the test of time 30 years later. So let's have Senorita Sabrosura start this one for us. What were your initial thoughts when you listened to this album? And what year was it when you listened to this album?
I don't remember the year because when it came out, I was like 11 years. So I think I listened like a few years later, but I remember like seeing Nirvana on MTV and everything. Um, but I know when I listened to this album, I immediately love it. It's one of my favorite albums of all the albums of all the records, all the bands. It's always on my top list, and I was like impressed with the whole album from beginning to end. Um, I think that's the sound the band was trying to achieve in all their career, and um, I know a lot of people that I know don't like In Utero as much as Nevermind, but I love In Utero more, and I especially Kurt Cobain voice, his screams. His voice and his screams reminds me a lot of John Lennon, and when he was doing the primal scream therapy and the Plastic Ono band. And I know Kurt Cobain was a fan of John Lennon, so I think he channeled a little bit of that, those primal screams.
Yeah. Plus, it was they went with Steve Albini,
Yes.
who was like very known for catching the rawness of the sound of bands. So
yeah, it sounds very raw, that album.
yeah, it's the complete opposite of Nevermind.
Yes.
But yes. So what about you, JC? Because you were probably at college. You probably played some of these songs with your band.
Yeah, actually, well, yeah, I did have the band around the same time. For some reason, we didn't cover any Nirvana, but I bought this maybe the week it came out or when it came out. I was I guess 93. I was 22 or something like that. I guess I was 22 years old, and I was my last year in college. I bought this. I was living in a house with a bunch of friends, and we used to have lots of parties. And I think I owned it for maybe like a month, and then somebody stole my CD. So
Damn them.
Damn.
yeah, I know. So somebody stole my CD. So I only had it for like a month or so. But I think later I probably like taped a copy of it off someone later on. But I used to listen to it all the time, and
JC, we lost you.
next time
Somebody stole
after I
you.
would like no, yeah,
I
then
thought
like no, I never got it back. But I remember I think like the next CD I bought was Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies, and that came out in January of '94. So like maybe like 3 months or 4 months later. And I remember I used to like put like the sticker with my name on it just to make sure like people wouldn't steal my CDs. And that
Don't
one,
steal my CD.
yeah, and that one actually still have. I still have Jar of Flies. That one I have to
So
this day.
so
Um,
people, yeah, if you're watching this video, We want you to call us and let us know if you found JC Rock and Metal's album for Nirvana-In Utero. Or like, please return it for him so he can have his original copy, you bastard who stole it.
Yeah.
So I want to show this is the original artwork, because obviously I'm showing I have the 2014 mix, but this was the original cover for In Utero that came out in 1993. And so I guess that leaves me when I first this album. This album, I remember back in that time, my grandfather used to take me to buy the albums, and I'm like, oh, I really want this album. And he would buy it for me, and he would let me play it in his car. My grandfather was cool, so I'm like, what is this album that you bought? It's called In Utero, and he's like, lovely. He's like, that sounds like poetry. Please put.
See his face when Rape Me came.
Yes, please put that album. No, my father was cool. He was really into music, and he supported, even he saw it and he's like, yes, this sounds beautiful. It must be like the most beautiful thing ever. So yeah, it's an album that I when it came out, I didn't mind that it didn't sound like Nevermind, because I don't know, at that time, I don't know if when you were younger, I think I was just excited that there was a new Nirvana album. I think nowadays
Yeah.
people are like too focused on what sound will they have. Just fucking listen to it first, and then you can discuss like what sound will it have. Back in the day, I was just excited that there was a new Nirvana album, and I thought it was awesome. Uh, but yeah, let's discuss. You mentioned "Rate Me." We should discuss that track, because that was a very controversial track. I remember when that came out, MTV used to do like this thing where they went to colleges and they played new albums, and they were playing this one for people. And a lot of people, you had females complaining about the "Rape Me" song, even though Kurt Cobain said in interviews that it's an anti-rape song.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure, because if you listen to it, it's gonna tell him. I don't know. Kurt wrote like hard to decipher lyrics, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you being a woman, Senorita? What's your take on "Rape Me"?
Well, you have to like really listen to the lyrics and read them
Yeah,
to understand. And I think he explained it that is an anti-rape anthem, because he did like other two songs. I think it was Polly and
Polly.
another song about rape, but people didn't understand or didn't get the message. So he wanted to be blunt. And I know I couldn't play, like my mom was cool, but I couldn't play that song. I had to skip it in front of her, because a lot of people like misunderstood the song.
Yeah, because they just hear him screaming rape me," like so.
Yeah. But
So
if you read the lyrics, you'll get it.
yeah,
And if you see all the interviews, like I think it was like tired of explaining what the song was about.
yeah, I think so too. And I don't know if you guys remember. You remember that in the 1992 MTV Video Music Awards, they were supposed to play Lithium, but they started playing the chords for "Rape Me," and like all the people were like,
Oh
the
yeah.
executives at MTV, and then they started Lithium. They just did it to fuck with MTV, which I think
Yeah.
is genius. Do you
Yeah.
remember that, JC?
Yeah, I think I remember from a long time ago, but I think "Rate Me" it's a good song because there's one line in it that kind of like gives away the real meaning to it, and that's when he says, "I'll kiss your open wounds. It's my inside source," or something like that. Which means is that, yeah, I'll kiss your open wounds, which means I'm going to leave like some DNA evidence on you. So go ahead and do it because you're going to get caught. Like if you do it to me, just do it, get it over with, and then you know, like you'll get caught because I'll have your evidence. That was I think the interpretation of it. So that's why it's like an anti-rape song. So it's just like, rape me, just do it, get it over with. But I'm gonna get you back, because I know how to get your evidence. Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's pretty
So
interesting song. Even 30 years later, I'm
yeah,
sure a lot of people won't get it.
Yeah,
But
there's like different theories of the song. I read one of the theories is that Kurt Cobain read on the newspaper that they tried to rape this woman and she escaped. So he got inspired to do this song, and he was like trying to be like empowering, like um about rape. Like, no, you can't rape me.
yeah, no,
I
yeah,
don't know.
I
There's
agree.
there's different theories. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I just thought we had to talk about that song, like parentheses, because it's the most controversial song on the record. Uh, so yeah, we gave our initial thoughts. Now we talked about Rape Me. Now we're going to talk about our favorite tracks from the record. So, Senorita, what are your favorite tracks from this record?
well, I really love Sendless Apprentice. I think it's a great song, great lyrics. I read the lyrics were inspired by the novel Perfume by the Patrick Suskind. Um, but I really like the lyrics, and the line that stayed with me is you can fire me because I quit. Like that leave you thinking about, because this is the last album he did. And I love how his screams go away. That's the primal scream I was telling you before. It's
Yeah,
very it's very raw, um, very, yeah, very raw, and I love the guitar and the drums. And I think Dave Grohl was the one who did the riff and the drums. It was like it's the song that is credited by the three members.
yeah, it's a great song. Yeah, I agree.
Of course, I love Heart Shaped Box. I think it's overplayed, but I love it. And I think if you ask a bunch of people, they will tell you this is their favorite song. And it's for a good reason. It's a great song. It's very harsh, very abrasive, but it has some beautiful melodies. And I love the chorus, like it stays with you.
Plus, that music video was controversial too.
I don't
Hmm.
remember a lot of the video.
Oh, the video had this little girl dressed as what it looks like a Ku Klux Klan outfit. Then you
Oh,
had a Jesus cross with a Santa Claus hat on. And plus the song was dark. He's talking about cancer, and yeah, it was the first single released for that album. But yeah, the music video I think it was really cool. I remember watching it, but yeah, it was controversial at the time. Do you remember? Yeah, do you remember that music video, JC?
yeah, yeah. I remember I used to watch MTV a lot, and I think they play that. So that was one of my favorite songs as well. It's just really good. It's just like a classic Nirvana. It has like the verse, the chorus, the soft verse, heavy chorus. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a classic song. So yeah, I remember I haven't watched the music video in a while. I probably have to like look it up on YouTube now. I think I
Oh
haven't
yeah,
seen
it's
it.
it's on YouTube. But I remember the girl. So I think
Yeah.
Senorita, you have one more song.
yes. Well, um, I like Dumb. I like Milk It, but if I had to pick my last pick, it will be All Apologies. For me, this is the perfect closer, a good way to end the album. Uh, the guitar is hypnotic, like it stays with you in your hair, in your head. uh it's like a gentle melody with good lyrics. And before reading the lyrics for a few years, I sang the incorrect. I thought he says all in all is all we are, and I always heard all alone is all we are.
thought I heard the same thing. I thought the same thing.
Okay, I
But
wasn't the only one. I thought like,
he
oh,
does say that married, buried, right?
married, buried.
Yeah, I can relate to that line more now.
Yeah, and then when he says married, I always heard my name, but I always thought he said all alone is all we are, but it's actually all in all is all we are. That sounds like very Buddhist concept, and the name of the band it's Nirvana.
Yeah,
But for me it's a great closer.
yeah, and it's even more cool when they did it in that unplugged version.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the unplugged version better.
yeah, I like that unplugged version a lot. So yeah, those are your free picks for favorite songs. So what about you, JC?
Okay, I mean, I pretty much like the whole album. Let me pick some different ones.
Yeah,
I'll go with Francis Farmer. We'll have a revenge on Seattle.
that's
It's
a good one.
just one of those cool. I think it sounds like more like a Nevermind type of song. It just has that cool like that guitar sound, and yeah, I like it a lot. It's just a super catchy song, and I think it's based on some kind of a 1978 farmer biography called Shadowland or something like that. But that's a good one. I like Penny Royalty. That's just one of my favorites. It's just one of those cool songs where like both the electric version and like the acoustic versions are just really great. It just I really like the melody and I want to and it's about him, suffering from depression. It has the typical like the soft verse, a loud chorus, like a lot of songs do. And what's interesting with this one is this was going to be the third single, but that was like right before he killed himself, so they didn't release it as a single. They were going to release it.
Penny Royalty, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Penny Royalty.
Yeah, I always love that song. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one I like, and the other one I think dumb. It's just I mean like I don't know the song title is kind of dumb I guess, but I
But
just
for me it's very
really
catchy.
I know
it's
I'm
just one of those like
done.
really
I think I'm
it's one of
done.
those catchy songs you just want to sing along to it, and
Yeah.
it has that like the cello and the vocal harmonies, and it's another one where in the unplugged version I think Kurt Cobain like sings it alone, and I remember him saying he's like I'm going to do this alone and I'm going to try it in another key, and if it just doesn't sound good you're going to have to wait or something like that. I always thought that was funny. I like both versions of it, so that's why I like this. So actually, that was Penny Royalty, right? But I'm thinking of Dumb. I think they do Dumb in the Unplugged, right, as well.
Yeah,
I
they
think,
did that on the unplugged as well. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm thinking of what he said Dumb Penny Royalty. But yeah, that's another great song. And
Awesome.
that's it.
So yeah. So I guess that leaves me with my
Yeah,
free
you're
app.
up.
I can also say I love the whole fucking album, but I'll pick a few different ones. I'm gonna go with the album starter, Serve the Servants. That's a great album starter. And he's the first lines where he says, like, as my bones grew, they did hurt. And there's a part where he says, like, I tried hard to have a father, but instead I had a dad. I'm like, oh my God, it like really hits it's so hard. It's like when you first listen to it, it's like the opposite of Smells Like Teen Spirit instead of a starter. It's like this is a dark record and very in your face. So I think Serve the Servants is an amazing track that starts the album well. I picked Penny Royalty too. I just love that track, and I love both the electronic version and the one in the unplug. I think both work great as well. And I like when he's like, sit and drink Penny Royalty. And there's like a part on the song where it's such a raw production that you almost hear his voice cracking a little bit. It's not pristine.
Yeah.
There's no auto fucking tune. That's the sound of his pain coming in live. So I thought that one was great. And one that I really think is really cool, it's radio friendly unit shifter. Like,
Yeah.
like what is wrong with me? Ta, 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 ta. It's like real, like in your face, and very punk rock. So I just wanted to pick a few different ones. And that was like a deep cut. And of course, Tourette's is great because it's just like him for 1 minute, like da da my heart. It's like he has Tourette's. So yeah, it's great. So now we're going to the final round where we say, has it held up 30 years later, Senorita?
Yes, of course it has. I love it. I think it aged very well. It's a great album to revisit. And to be honest, I would have loved to see what the band would have done after this album. It's such
Me too.
a tragedy, but I think it's like a great last album from the band.
Yeah. What about you, JC?
Yeah, I think it definitely has held up. I think compared to Nevermind, I think Nevermind might be like the better album, but I'm probably like more likely to go back to this one than I would Nevermind because I've listened to Nevermind like so many times. And I think on Nevermind, there's some songs which I kind of feel I kind of like have heard too many times, like Smells Like Teen Spirit and maybe some of the other ones. But on this one, I kind of feel like I haven't listened to it that much over the years because someone stole my CD, and so
We
when
want it back.
but like whenever I pull it up on YouTube Music, I think it kind of sounds fresh again because I guess like it's not really as overplayed as like Nevermind. I've listened to so many times, but yeah. But this one it definitely has held up. So yeah, I enjoy it every time I go back to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. So that leaves me, and of course, it's fucking held up. I bought this one, the 2014 mix, and just so people who don't have this one, look inside the pictures. Here's Kurt. Uh, it's really awesome pictures, and it really sounds great. I think it's the sound that Steve Albini wanted from the album.
Yeah.
So he wanted it to sound like this because I was reading something that he had a lot of pressure from the record company because they weren't happy with In Utero. So I think this was the one that the original version that he wanted to release, but they released the one that they released in 1993. I'm not a huge like audio like nerd that knows like the difference. To me, like I'm like I think both sound fucking awesome. I haven't
I
heard.
think the
Yeah,
difference is that in one of the records, the voices are more in the back, like softer, and in the others are more in the front. I think that's what I read. That's the
yeah,
difference.
yeah.
But I like that mix. It sounds very raw, like it
It
should be.
does.
And that's what they wanted originally.
Yeah, I haven't heard the original CD, not because somebody stole it, but because I left it at my parents' house and they threw it away. So I don't know which is sad that they threw that one away or that JC's was stolen. Like JC, do you ever like try to sleep and wonder where that CD is?
Yeah, I know sometimes. Yeah.
So we want to know from you people, 30 years later, how has In Utero held up? What are your favorite tracks and your earliest memories of listening to this record? I the last thing I remember when this record came out, they played MTV in December 31st, and they did a huge concert. I had that on Blu-ray, and they had like the angel, and at the end they break the angel. It's a great performance. Back when MTV did some awesome shows to end the year back in the day. So yeah, that's like the last memory I had from that record. So yeah, it's a record that 30 years later, yeah, we've all said it's held up. So we want to know from you people, what are your favorite tracks, and if you like the videos that we're putting out, don't forget to give us a like and comment. Let us know what other like albums from the 90s have anniversaries coming that we could talk about. So because sometimes there's so many albums that anything can slip under the cracks. So please remember to subscribe to my friend's channel, JC Rock and Metal Reviews. He does, his album rankings. He does a lot of other interesting content. And Senorita Sabrosura, if you want to get your fix for rock en español. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield on a Couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you, and we'll see you next time for another anniversary album review.